Welcome. Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're just joining, well, I guess there's no other way. You could just be just joining. It's just starting. So, welcome. It's going to take a little time to synchronize those. So, I'm going to give it whatever. But yes, Merry Christmas, everybody. Those of you who are joining, I do appreciate you being here. I know there's a lot going on right now. So, I'm assuming most folks wouldn't be here unless if they had something better going on. And that's all right. This is more for later, I guess, or I guess if there's anybody who will be on who wants to ask questions, are certainly welcome to join the chat in that capacity. But what I'd like to do today is as a sort of like, hey, Merry Christmas, appreciate you joining. I wanted to do sort of like just a whiteboard discussion, kind of keep things because the material's been pretty heavy lately, folks, and I do appreciate I feel a little bit off for having done so much heavy material so close to the holidays. I can't really control, I guess, the timing of the when certain things just sort of flow out of my mind, I guess you could say, at certain times. So yeah. So tonight I wanted to be mostly about topics relative to the Bible, Christmas. Merry Christmas, Lisa. How are you? I'm glad you're here. Um, I want this to be just more of a discussion, just like, about like, I've been thinking about this a lot, okay? About, biblical things relative to, trinities of human energy and what we exist in truly, like if you accept the concept of the universal plasma field. And I feel like this is a good time to just talk about like what is the nativity, what would be the immaculate conception, what does Adam's rib mean if we're talking about things a little bit more in terms of what we all might understand within these groups and these chats about, let's start off with this concept a little bit before I get into this about what I want to talk about tonight, and I'm going to be whiteboarding is I've done a lot of material relative to bioenergetics, which is, again, to try to summarize this in one statement is too complex. So let me just try to talk about what I'm discussing in terms of this. That it's basically what is it that we exist in relative to our perception of reality and our perception of physical matter, solid matter, or whatever else. Our perceptions relative to how do I say this? I'm really trying to find a way. I don't think there's really any quick bullet point thing that you can say on bioenergetics that could quickly summarize it. So it's hard for me to even try. But okay, let's start off on this concept a little bit because I'm going to be whiteboarding this. But if everything is a universal plasma field and we vibrate everything into solid matter through shared values and beliefs, but mostly this process of belief and that nothing comes into 3D reality without the concept of belief playing a part. So, like, it started, and I think this is where the Bible is really fascinating the more you delve into it. This slide that I started off with tonight, and I'll put it on the screen here now, I guess. I'll have to switch. Well, how do I do this? I can do this right. You can see me, I guess, but let me switch cameras here. Oh, it's not. My camera's not working. Hang on. It's always there. It is. I don't know why this camera is. It's a great camera, and it didn't require like any USB drivers or anything else like that. But it always has some weird issues. Here, let me fix that. Here it is. Okay, that should look normal to you now. All right. Since I'm on here, I'll go ahead and turn some light on. There we go. That'll look better. Okay. Um, Sorry, some of my research from Leon Oskin is up there. I think that's actually kind of relevant because I think there is something kind of funky with this plasma field thing going on relative to that whole storyline that maybe, there's I guess behind everything that's tragic, there's also some good things that could be revealed, I guess, or some positive things around the corner. So tonight, I guess, is mostly just about discussing, I think, life, creation, what we exist in a more intelligent way, without a lot of the fluff, but understanding that the Bible is a great template through which to discuss concepts involving how we perceive reality and what we truly exist in. And, I've always been personally kind of on the fence about religion in general. I'm not a person that I would call, I mean, I'm not a Christian, but I'm not, a person that's in opposition of Christianity. And I don't believe that it's false, I guess you could say. I think that the reason why I guess I haven't historically practiced Christianity is not, I don't want this to be a big philosophical discussion, guys. I just know we have a lot of people from varying belief systems here, but I think that the concept of the Trinity is mostly about the way that this DNA coil right here, when I've discussed this before, and I'm going to move, let me do this really quickly. I'm going to move this diagram over a bit so that I have more room to work with here. There we go. Okay. Oops. All right. So we have this right here, the whole DNA coil, right? And so what I think is being communicated oftentimes within the Bible is that, like within Adam's rib cage, right? If you think of this as a whole body and everything like that, the DNA coil is part of that whole lore within the Bible. So I don't want to get too deep into that because that's not really what this is about immediately. I'll start off by going over the same diagram that I have historically, that there is a trinity of human energy. Okay. So I think that this is, hang on, sorry, I bumped the camera. So within that trinity, you have the 1, 2, 3. So you have, I guess, within the Holy Trinity, you have Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And then I think that there's a parallel there, you could say, to within energy. Hang on. Man, I really need to get a virtual whiteboard, guys. This is like getting ridiculous, me trying to like do this. Hang on. Making a mess everywhere here. All right. And then within energy, the human energy, I think what you have here with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is you have the Father, I think, would be the representation of the skeletal structure, the foundation. So this would be like the what do you call it? I have a name for this. I call it within this trinity of human energy. So Trinity, you have underneath, you have the physical, non-visible. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. And then the Son would be the physical, visible. And then the Holy Spirit would be the non-physical, plasma. Okay. I'm kind of adapting this from what I've historically discussed here within these terms. And so, if you think about it, so like the human body is a little bit like, when we talk about, you have your body here is like the skeleton, right? So the basic skeletal structure is this, and then your outer layer, sorry, I get this up here. And then, so your skeletal structure is this, but then everything is your face, your hair, your skin is your physical visible. And then the Holy Spirit within this term would be your aura field. Sorry to use the color black. I guess we can use different colors here and just like try it. Like your aura would be the plasma field of varying colors, right? That's the non-physical plasma. And so I think I've talked about that concept before, so I don't want to like delve too deeply into what I've done. Like I think I did that one back in May. Wow, I can't believe this many people are here. Thank you for joining, guys. That's really cool. I really thought because it was Christmas, there just might be like maybe one or two joining, everything like that. So that's really cool. I appreciate you being here. Um, it just makes me feel like my family's bigger. um, so what I just told you guys about this whole thing with the plasma field is I think that that's the Holy Spirit. So when we talk about the Holy Trinity, when we talk about the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, I think when we talk about the skeletal structure being the Father, it means that, you as the, whether it's mother, daughter, whatever, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, doesn't really matter. It's just the generational aspect, the perception of time relative to physical matter, how one begats another, and how what the origins of all of it is as a plasma field. None of it comes into fruition without a belief system, and that is the Holy Spirit. If you think about it, there would be no physical matter without the belief in the Holy Spirit, which is we don't bring anything into physical reality without belief. Nothing is brought into physical reality without belief. It's belief in a concept or an idea. It's belief in just that you write something down like an architecture plan and you build that building by getting a whole bunch of other people to believe that it can happen. And everything that we exist in operates on this principle. Every single thing in physical reality operates off of belief. It absolutely does. I talked about this recently, just in a basic way, talking like, if you don't believe in these concepts, if you don't believe that Defense Intelligence Agency report or that Army report or the Monroe Intelligence, no, the Monroe Agents, no, the Monroe Institute, excuse me, they contributed to this thing called the Gateway Experience, and the Gateway Experience report described this beautifully. And maybe I should just actually quote from that because I really feel like what that gateway experience amounts to is a culmination of a series of interests that normally would never align. But for some strange reason, in this declassified military report, you found like these people that are sort of like mystics and believe in brainwave and meditation and believe in all these synchronization, exercises, and are like into more things that are, that the average person is, I guess you could say, of the warrior class might kind of go like, whatever, I don't believe in that crap. I got more important things to worry about. I'm getting physically fit here. I'm training. I'm doing all my other things. Yeah, you go meditate. Yeah, I mean, but when you find that gateway experience report, I guess to me it was like sort of like my aha moment when I found that. I was like, wow, there's all these people that are from this more rigid system of just straightforward physical reality beliefs that have actually entertained at a pretty broad scale within the military that we exist in a universal plasma field and that nothing's brought into physical resonance without belief. I mean, that's like something that they kind of believe. They don't really phrase it that way, but that's what it amounts to when you think about it. um it's like the towers that I used to build. To me, this was my evidence of it, right? This all started with an idea that one or two people had, or just there was a need, or a whole group of people recognized that there was a gap in coverage where they wanted it, like a small town of like 1,000 people. They were like, man, we could get way more people to come out here and spend time in our nice little town if they could just make cell phone calls out here. And for some strange reason, these tower companies are like, there's nothing going on out there. How do we convince them? I really wish they would come out here. This is how it was where I was, guys. I'm not trying to get to whatever today about cell tower things. I'm retired from that industry at this point for the most part. I mean, I guess I'll have to entertain getting a job there at some point in time again if they would, want to hire me, I guess. But the point is that I basically just left it all behind. I don't delve into that type of work any longer. But I understand a lot about radio frequency, energy, and how things happen with energy because of my industry experience. And this is where it all kind of like the concept of the Holy Trinity, it actually exists within when you're building a cell tower, truly, honestly. You have project meetings that occur based on the ideas of a small group of people that say, okay, I recognize, I looked outbound and I saw a need for something, and these people all wanted it. In this case, it was a cell phone tower. In some cases, it's just building a hospital or a school or a road that gets you from one point to the other. Whatever it is, guys, I mean, let's take away the cell tower thing and forget that example. But whatever it is, you got to remember it all began where somebody just sat there writing it down on a piece of paper. Somebody thought it here, put it to paper, or orated it somehow, or after they thought it up, they said to a group of people, we need a road to get from this point to this point, or I need to build a statue there, or we're going to excavate that hill and build a nice monument for this purpose up there. I mean, for whatever reason it occurs, it all begins with an idea. And so this is why the concept of the the Holy Trinity, the Holy Spirit, whatever this is it really that much of a mystery, or is it that yes, within this mystery is the answer, and it asks the question again, and if it didn't, then none of this would continue the way that it does. We can't ever truly get the answer, but we're at least on the cusp of understanding the process of the cycle and how it all goes around and around and why it goes around and why I think that we exist in what we do. Within the concept, I think, of the Bible, I think what they're trying to communicate, I think, even within, like, for example, the Nativity. I mean, wow. I mean, let's talk about that as just a general concept that, the Annunciation is told by, is delivered by Gabriel, strangely. And maybe that's what this is about, even in some strange way, guys. I don't know. If you think about it, it's kind of a strange thing. Um, but if you study, and actually, let me put that up on the screen here really quick. Let me do a quick screen share and I'll put up the Nativity. And sorry to get it from something as weird as Wikipedia, I guess. I'm not sure where else to quote from. It's a place where so many people go. We can just start there, even if you think it's bogus information or whatever. But here's the Nativity entry in Wikipedia. So let's just kind of start with this concept of the birth of Christ and the birth of Jesus and what that means to the Holy Trinity. So this concept that there would have been some sort of divine intervention that would have occurred, that Mary, the Virgin Mary, would have a child through the quote immaculate conception, and that Joseph would be there in support of her and to be the father, yet he would not actually be the father, in the way that people thought, right? There would be something that where Jesus intervened, I guess you could say, or was a divine intervention through which Jesus created the pregnancy within the Virgin Mary. And then Joseph was there to support her, or to guide her through this, or whatever, I guess you could say. But as it says here, the two accounts agree that Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea. His mother Mary was betrothed to a man named Joseph, who was descended from King David and was not his biological father, and that his birth was caused by divine intervention. And the Nativity is the basis for the Christian holiday of Christmas on December 25th, and plays a major role in the Christian liturgical year. Many Christians traditionally display small manger scenes depicting the Nativity in their homes, or attend nativity plays or Christmas pageants focusing on the nativity cycle in the Bible. Elaborate nativity displays called creche scenes, sorry, I don't know how to say that, guys, featured life-size statues are a tradition in many continental European countries during the Christmas season. Okay, we don't need to read all this. But the point would be, and I want to get deeper into the concept. Hang on really quick. I want to find the Trinity here. Yeah. Let me bring this into the fold too, because I feel like that's really where, we can discuss the Nativity, but I think really within this discussion, where the Nativity leads to ultimately is a better understanding of what the Trinity is, or the Holy Trinity, depending on, like, I guess Gabriel and the Annunciation. Yeah, Lisa, that's the thing that I was learning about, that they have this whole thing called the Annunciation. Yeah, hang on, there is something, if you read that in the Nativity of Jesus, it's called hang on, let me find this really quick. If you control F, you go Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, to announce a virgin named Mary, and they called that the Annunciation. So the Annunciation, also referred to as the Annunciation to Blessed Virgin Mary, the Annunciation of Our Lady, or the Annunciation of the Lord, is the Christian celebration of the announcement by the angel Gabriel to Mary that she would conceive and bear a son through a virgin birth and become the mother of Jesus Christ, the Christian Messiah and Son of God, marking the incarnation. Gabriel told Mary to name her son Jesus, meaning, I guess that's Yahweh, is salvation. According to Luke 1:26, the Annunciation occurred in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy with John the Baptist. Many Christians observe the event with the Feast of the Annunciation on the 25th of March, an approximation of the northern vernal equinox 9 full months before Christmas, the ceremonial birthday of Jesus. The Annunciation is a key topic in Christian art in general, as well as in Marian art in the Catholic Church, having been especially prominent during the Middle Ages and Renaissance. A work of art depicting the Annunciation is sometimes called itself the Annunciation. Wow, I didn't know they called it Marian art. I had no idea that that was the name of it. That's kind of trippy if you followed some of my other research that I don't want to get into right now. Wow, man, this is all getting even. I'm even surprised at some of the things that I read sometimes, guys. I mean, but yeah. So I think maybe, like, for example, right now, I think that we're kind of on the cusp of more people understanding bioenergetics on a broader scale, and that it's through this greater awareness and awakening that I think more people will. I think we will achieve some kind of profound enlightenment within our collective and global population. I think it's going to be something that sweeps across. And I think the reason why it hasn't happened up until now is specifically because Western culture does not have a good understanding of bioenergetics. Once Western culture does have a strong understanding of bioenergetics, their ability to impact the plasma field relative to their belief systems will be exponentially stronger, because and I think what you'll find is there'll be a greater balance within the plasma field to Western beliefs relative to other beliefs once that understanding comes into place. I know this is going to sound a little bit strange, but did it ever occur to you guys like why the military was so interested in having reports about bioenergy, and why there may be people within that group that now think, wow, I really wish that all of our population could wake up right now? Because if you think about it, one of our best defenses against the malicious use of bioenergetics is a population that has a stronger mind and understands it better. And the reason why so many Eastern nations have an edge on this when it comes to bioenergy, and when it comes to manipulation of psychoenergetics and bioenergetics, I don't want to get too dark, guys, but they have an advantage on us because, number one, their religions and their practices, and within those countries there's just a general understanding. It's taught more like in schools, or at least in religious doctrines, like this flow of energy and the understanding of how you are the world and the world is you, and the flower of life is way more integrated into their understanding of human energy relative to the entire world. That if you understand that we're forming the entire universe through a 3D perception that exists in, if you think about it, guys, this is the bridge of the DNA, right? The two coils. This is making the infinity right here on my face. Let me expand my image here a little bit really quick. Is it not? Like that other image that I had before. Think about it now. Now put the lines across like the DNA, right? Now you're going to form another one, because you're going to have through your third eye here, which is being formed through hemispheres of circular grids, form the other one that's the same shape as the eye socket here. You have another one that's formed right here where your pineal gland is, because of the way that the spheres align from the energy emitted from two sides of your brain. They form energy fields. And then right in the center there is your pineal gland. And that's where all the magic truly occurs within generating physical reality. And then if your belief systems have an understanding of Christian, belief systems, and you can apply this science to your Christian belief systems, I promise you the benevolent influence of Christianity will be far stronger in the world if Western nations understand their faith as Christians in tandem with bioenergetics. it really is important. And I'm trying to give you guys a speech here because I want this to be more about like less about like we need to get to work. It's not that today's about something positive, okay? But please understand this. Like everything that we're existing in right now is a universal plasma field, and every single thing we believe in or do not believe in is creating the reality that we're all existing in. And there's a reason why some people are a little bit. I've learned to appreciate like my Christian conservative friends far more than I ever did before. I don't want like this to be like such a dominant belief system that it's like telling it's like I don't want it to be like Footloose where nobody's dancing and the preacher's telling everybody like that's dirty, that's dirty. No, I'm not going there with it, guys. I mean, I want there to be a real genuine understanding of the spiritual, like what gives it its real meaning, what actually makes Christianity something truly special in this world. That why, even if you weren't a person that believes in it, why you would understand that it's so important for it to be strong in its ability to communicate things at this level. There's so many lessons into how we perceive reality that are right there hidden underneath all of every phrase, every chapter, every book. You're going to find it if you're especially if you just have eyes to see and ears to hear, I guess they could say. It's in there. And it's there for you to find and understand at a level that is there for you to understand. If you can only understand at the level of don't bite the apple, then yeah, then you weren't designed to bite the apple. But you should have an understanding of what that meant. What did it mean? Why did he say, like, don't eat from the tree or don't take from that knowledge, the tree of knowledge? Like, I don't want you to know this if you can't. You understand, like, what that was, that knowledge was that God was warning Adam and Eve about? What is the rib in Adam's rib cage that makes his partner and is from the earth? How did Adam come from the earth? Because Adam is part of the universal plasma field. Adam and Eve together form, once they form a new life, now they've started to form new circular grids, getting back to where we started with on the whiteboard, the circular grids that form new Vesica Pisces that match this, that form the 3D prism. I'm going to get on the whiteboard again. This is the, excuse me, sorry, worst time I could burp. Sorry. This is the essence of the Holy Trinity, though. I mean, it really is. When you really get down to the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the belief in creation, the belief in just anything manifests it becoming something. You can't get something to become anything unless you believe and manifest it into reality. We would never have built cell towers if all of us were pessimists in the room and said, you can't do that. That's too, you can put a tall thing like 100 feet up in the air and have it broke, whatever. Oh, you guys are going to make a building, right? Yeah. What do you know? How do you know how to make a building, really? I mean, seriously, if the world were run by pessimists, what would ever get done? If the world were run by people who believed in nothing, if everybody were nihilists, if nobody believed in anything, if there was no spiritual base that got us from, you understand that everything is belief. It's all belief. It's all about what we're making it every single day. Do you believe in each other? Do you believe in the world? Do you believe in your country? Do you believe in your community? Do you just believe in yourself? Do you believe in each other? Probably my best, honestly, my most spiritual moment at a rock concert was at a Flaming Lips thing where like where Wayne Coyne said, never underestimate the power in believing in people. You make them what they are. We are here today on this stage because a whole bunch of our friends and family, they knew we couldn't play instruments, but they just believed in us. And they kept showing up and believing in us and believing in us. And then pretty soon these guys are actually playing their instruments. It's amazing. And they're making like really good like structured songs, and they're like I was pretty blown away by some Flaming Lips albums. I haven't listened to them much lately, not to get into a music discussion, but I remember being at that concert and just kind of going like it's true. Like if like me building cell towers, you guys, I mean, you think about it. I mean, I'm reasonably intelligent, but not enough to build a tower, not enough to design one. People believed in me. A person looked at me and said, Gabe, I believe in you. I want you to come over and build these things. I was like, I can't do that. You guys, I've never done that. Guys. That's like highly technical work. Don't you have to have like a bachelor's in sciences or something like that, an engineering degree? No, I could train a monkey to do it. I believe in you, Gabe. You're just the monkey I believe in. But no, belief means everything. Your belief in me here means everything. Gotten me from point A to point B to point C. Seriously, people here, people close to me in my personal life. I mean, really, if it weren't for that belief and support, I wouldn't be different places. This is sorry, I think I have ink on my hands here. I don't know what. Yeah, sorry, it's ink. Don't worry, I don't have anything weird. Got some ink on my hands, but it is that's the Holy Spirit. And if you think about it, the Holy Spirit is really the plasma field. And then once you understand that that when you think about it as science, you guys, think this through as science. This is why you've got to understand this plasma field thing. And I'm going to put the whiteboard up again in a second here. The plasma field is everything because the building doesn't get made, the road doesn't get built until a person believes in it, gets somebody else to envision it with them, and they all work together to create the team that eventually digs, builds, hammers away everything. And then that's everything still. It's because what gets the person to show up to the work site? They believe they're going to get paid. And history has shown them that when they show up to the work site and do task A, B, C, and D, they get all the things they need and they go back and they're able to live their lives, and their lives are better as a result of also believing in something, even if it's just the faith that somebody's going to pay you at the end of the week for your work. It all requires faith, it all requires belief, right? And your employer and your and whatever it is in the process that you're doing. So that is belief. If you think about it, it is the Holy Spirit. I guess just more specific to a belief in that specific system within the Trinity of the energies. And so think of faith, think of belief, think of the Holy Spirit is, at least in the context of how I'm describing it, is that is the plasma field, that's bioenergetics, that's the aura, that's the thing that you can semi visualize. But honestly, most of us, most of the world walking around, we're not seeing each other's biofield. We can't visualize you can't see my aura without a special camera. You can't see how much bioelectrical plasma bending I can do without special equipment. But it is something that can be made visible. And that's where we're getting into a new reality here. That's when we're getting into a greater understanding of how it all forms together. It's one of the reasons why I was so excited about the BioWell camera, the GDV system, is because I really felt like finally we're starting to get into something, and that's existed for decades, guys. Equipment like that, Carillion photography. It's in the same reports that I'm quoting from the military. They were actually worried about something like Carillion photography, and like, how could you weaponize something that just measures a person's human energy? I mean, why would the military even be concerned about that unless every single thing that I'm telling you is true? And then once you get that, then those of you who understand like the deeper thing, then you know why there's such a rigid effort, or there's such an aggressive effort to form your beliefs for you, to bend your plasma field, because effectively everything involving this Holy Spirit concept is how the flow of this universal plasma field moves through you relative to others. When you're a bioenergy super delegate, as I like to say, a person that broadcasts or has more energy flow than average, again, it doesn't make that person better or worse. Honestly, I don't believe that. I'm not saying that to make people feel better. I'm saying it the same reason why like antennas weren't good or bad in my universe. Well, there's crappy quality antennas, sure. But when I was designing a cell tower, sometimes I needed one that had like a really wide pattern antenna and could only see like everything like really, really close up, but it did it extremely well. And the beam aimed right down towards that area. And other times, that tower I was building, I was trying for that thing to see like 20 miles down a highway. I wanted to cover the entire way, and I wasn't too concerned about anything right underneath it. See, these two types of designs require completely different kinds of antennas. In one case, I would probably, just to be real, I'll tell you guys how much I know. I would get like a 100-degree antenna. That's really, really wide. The beam is 100 degrees wide. When I'm covering a highway, man, I would get one that was like barely 40 degrees wide. It's like got a beam like this. And then the gain is really high. So the power output goes and it just goes out like a rocket. It aims the signal straight out. That's great when I'm trying to cover 20 miles out. But see, if I tried using that antenna to cover a small town right in front of the tower, that would be stupid, unless that served that need uniquely well. I only need to cover 40 feet and or 40 beam in front of me or whatever. But no, usually when you do that, you're trying to get a lot of people in a short space covered. And so that antenna is perfect for that. Is one better than the other? No. They fit the circumstance relative to how they move energy from point A to point B, or energy flows through them, electromagnetic energy or whatever electromagnetic fields move through them specifically, and how they repropagate them once it passes through the antenna. And humans are the same way. Some people are like that bulbous 100-degree antenna that sees this far in front, but does a great job covering all the little, like the town right in front of it. Other ones can just go out like a rocket and see 20 miles out. And they're that kind of bioenergy field. Again, but they would struggle to cover all the ones that are super up close to them and really around them and everything with their electrical field or their bioenergy field. You'll usually find people exist in some of these extremes in many cases. And so I was measuring my own bioenergy field, so I kind of know that I have something going on. I know that there's somebody else that I've been close to that's got things that are going on with their bioenergy field to have some measurements to kind of like view. And I've seen some of the charts of other people at times, and I've just seen good collections of them to know that there is something I think that's going on that's kind of unique within the way some people move energy as measured through like their fingertips, and how that acts as sort of a conductor through the rest of the body. Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to get too much into science here, guys, because I know we are talking about, look, this is a scientific discussion of Christianity and nativity. Okay. So I'm not trying to get too far off topic. The core aspects of it, though, the nativity, the angel Gabriel, I guess you could say relative to that. I guess that's kind of what this is. The reason why I said that is because it's not because I would think of myself as having like any unique, okay, the Bible would replicate itself as over and over again. It's a cycle of energy. It's a belief system that existed in its timeline, and it'll exist again in another timeline, and exist again in another timeline, and exist again in another timeline. And each time, what I'm telling you is that Gabriel would be something different in each case. I mean, maybe now Gabriel will be a person in physical reality, not an angel that came down from heaven and was a messenger directly from God. Maybe it'll be a physical incarnation of a human being in today's thing. Maybe in the future, once we've evolved into digital technology and all those things have gone out of control, Gabriel will be the name of a supercomputer that delivers a message to other computers, and it'll be a system of delivery of information. It'll be the messenger angel computer in that case. And then the Bible will have all sorts of lores replicated within that thing involving artificial intelligence in some cycle of time in the future. I'm not trying to get too foo-foo or science-based here or whatever. I'm just telling you guys, it's like, yeah, it existed then. It was probably historically accurate at that time. And I think it confuses people when they're trying to review, like, what is the true history of the Bible? It's confusing to you because it keeps repeating. Everyone's belief in it creates another cycle of it repeating. So again, it's just and I think it's even within the Bible, if you really think about it, it's there in Genesis, it's there in Adam and Eve, it's in all of these things are telling you in repetition, this is a self-replicating story, that it's true because of its belief in it being true. It has become true, just like this whole concept of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I don't think it's even a mind game in the classic sense. I think that it's just a way to tell you that, like, everything that we believe in comes into manifestation this way. And I think if you get that, then you can see Christianity. If you're a non-Christian and you just don't like it or something like that, I guess, you can kind of see it as something that's less threatening to your sort of atheistic belief system. And you can think of it as more a really brilliant way of discussing the way we all process reality relative to energy and plasma. I think that, to me, that's where my takeaway has become from it. I like it for that reason. I feel good around the holidays for that reason. I think even um the last 5 years, even though I've had some, not the best times, there's been this sort of renewed understanding of biblical prophecy and stories that has made me feel, I guess you could say, more spiritual. It's helped me have a greater understanding of it. I never knew what to make of it, to be honest with you, Christianity overall. I would go to church when I was a kid. I had some relatives that were Christian. I had some that were not. I've tried going to like Catholic churches. I've gone to like Lutheran ones. I've gone to Episcopalian, Baptist. I mean, all different types of churches growing up. Sometimes friends' churches I would go to. I also grew up in some pretty heavy Mormon communities to see. I've seen different flavors of Christianity and different variations on it. Um, so I've just had a lot of exposure to the way different people interpret Christianity, to where I know that within nearly all religious doctrine, whether it's Christianity as a major one and Islam as another major one, there's almost always some degree of concept of explaining how energy moves relative to belief. I would even say that everything I just told you about the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. I mean, like within Islam, you have their whole thing with the Hajj encircling the Kaaba and the stone that was delivered by Gabriel, the black stone that was delivered by Gabriel, the messenger angel, also within Islam. That's what they do in Mecca every year. They have their pilgrimage and they literally circle that square within that arena. The huge cube that you see there is called the Kaaba, and they circle it 7 times. And when they get to the center, they touch the black stone that was delivered by Gabriel to Muhammad. And again, always the form of the messenger. And so I think that that's part of when I thought about it. I think there's a whole bunch of people named Gabriel that feel like I do for whatever reason. I don't think that I'm unique that way or special. Maybe what makes my thing unique is that I had the access to a YouTube channel and some degree of media organizations that were willing to listen to me talk. That's the only thing that differentiates me. I think there's probably a bunch of other Gabriels that probably have some similar intuitions or thoughts or beliefs. I can't say for certain, or maybe within their own world or within their own universe, they felt some sort of call or whatever, just by virtue of the belief in the name Gabriel vibrating into one of a messenger. It vibrates into resonance. This belief in Gabriel as a messenger angel makes it a reality in current times. So there will be a messenger angel named Gabriel now. And again, in the future, it might be a computer. It just might be that that's the way that messages are delivered, and they'll just happen to name the system Gabriel by some bizarre whatever, probably because they'll just know about Bible lore or Bible stories, and they'll be like, yeah, we'll call the messenger delivery program Gabriel. Sure, why not? Or so maybe within now, this is just how it's some degrees of it are manifesting it. Again, guys, I'm not claiming to have news of the Bible or whatever. I think that maybe that how it's manifesting within this current thing within you and I and here and everything else like that is just I'm the guy that's telling you about how to understand the bioenergy fields and everything like that, the nativity things in Jesus, how these things could actually happen in physical reality, how like people like to make fun of it as a story. But if you think about the way that plasma fields move and belief and what is plasma really? I mean, what would be the process of conception relative to plasma? I don't know. I don't think that an immaculate conception is really that far off from possibility. I mean, I think, well, look, is it likely that it could happen or would happen in most cases? No. But I mean, I think that if somebody said, I believe that it's happened someplace, I don't think that I would question it excessive. I mean, I don't know. Would I roll my eyes? I don't think so. Hang on really quick, guys. My computer's about telling me that it wants to restart. And no, I don't want you to do that. Oh my God, guys. If it does that, I apologize. I will be right back on if it does. I don't know how I can stop it, but it's trying to tell me it wants to restart. So I'm going to try to stop it if it tells me it's going to do that again. Um, yeah. So let me get back into this story about the Annunciation of Gabriel, I guess, because I think that maybe what we're dealing with here, like right now, maybe this is just, I guess you could call it, quote, like as a joke, my own private Annunciation of Gabriel. Maybe this is my way of saying to you, I think it's possible within physical reality that if you understand how a belief in something could actually manifest it into reality, that now we're getting into maybe it's just because of all of the different ways that frequencies are propagating that weren't before, that we're now actually like all these extremely high frequencies as SHF frequency bands that are now out in the airwaves that are now passing both through our bodies and around us and near us, that it's just easier to bring things that would seem more like fiction based into actual physical reality because there's just more energy moving, and the ability for people to change physical reality on the dime is a lot easier. And when you have so many people around the world that have conflicting values and conflicting belief systems, but these energy fields are aggressively moving through them, I don't know. I don't think it's really that far outside of, I don't think it makes me that, what do you want to say, cuckoo, or I guess you could say, to make the suggestion that we are bringing a lot of the weird things into reality right now because we're a little bit too passive on how we operate with the universal plasma field as a collective consciousness, and that we're not taking into proper account what role the media plays in bending our value systems, what roles in artificial electromagnetic fields play in bending our value systems, and that we at least need to understand that bending value systems could actually wind up in the process of changing physical reality. And the concept of the nativity, I think, really kind of sets that in motion, or not sets it in motion, but it sets it in, what's the term I'm trying to say? I think it validates it a little bit. I mean, how would this even happen if there would be this concept of a woman that would literally give birth to, Jesus, the Son of God, through divine intervention that would involve no active procreation. She would simply be birthed from a belief in the Holy Spirit manifesting the Son of God. I think that we've actually kind of wound up having something like that happen, and we just didn't know how to acknowledge it or didn't realize when it happened. I think things like that have actually occurred in modern times. We were just not, it was either hidden, or we just don't know exactly all the mechanics of it, or even at the time it wasn't understood and nobody would ever thought that it would have happened that way, but it did. I don't know. Um, I don't think that anything that's going on right now, as weird as things are getting right now, I think that we actually really are on the cusp of something really miraculous and beautiful happening. And so tonight is really more about saying that, we can get there. And I think that if Western cultures understand this concept of the Trinity better, they'll be able to apply their belief systems in a more, I how do I say, I think Western culture, I think relative to the way that Christianity is understood, will be healthier. I think that you'll actually have a true understanding of it, the science of it, and I think that'll benefit both the belief system itself. I think you'll have healthier churches. I think you'll have more people that are there for the right reasons. I think you'll have fewer bogus churches. I think you'll have less tolerance of people that are promoting their value systems in a fake or bogus way. Um, I think that's what's put off a lot of people from the belief system overall. I think even within people that actually have a faith in it or a belief in it, there's been a lot of people that leave organized churches behind, or they leave the structure of a going someplace every Sunday and listening to somebody because they're just so burnt out from it. So, oh, thank you for joining there, Lisa. I appreciate it. Yeah, and thank you, and Merry Christmas to you too, everybody. Really, I do appreciate everybody joining here in any way that they can or wanted to. That was really nice. Um, I'm not going to be on very long though, to be honest with you. I'll probably do like, I don't know. We'll see how much longer I'm going to go. A little bit longer. Um, I just want to make sure I cover the topics because I feel like if I'm rambling a little bit, it's because I feel like I've forgotten something. And so I wanted to make sure I got like the whole concept of, the Trinity, what's discussed in the Trinity relative to the Annunciation. So we kind of got that. We can talk about Adam's rib and circular grids and the flower of life. I think that's, yeah, let me talk about that again once more. And this time I'm going to bring up the whiteboard to do that with. All right. So let me get my camera. All right. So the Trinity of human energy. We already talked about the skeleton, right? The whole thing with the face, and then the aura field. So the aura. So I'd say the non-physical, non-visible. Well, you know what? Okay, the field itself is non-visible, but it creates everything that we exist in when in physical reality. So, I mean, that's kind of a dicey thing for me to say. So let me go where your eyes are here, and then you've got. So what you have here, that's the pineal gland, third eye. So you have I1, I2, I3. And then if you flip this, you'll notice how this looks like that. So your eye is a little bit like the same type of vesica Pisces that's formed from the hemispheres of your brain. If you think about it, this is just your whole head. We'll give it Bart Simpson here. Oops. And so what you have here is the trinity of human energy, really, because you're forming your 3D perception and then you're getting the circular grids. So the hemispheres of your brain form one circular grid that forms this vesica Pisces, and then you merge with another one that does the same thing. And then all of you are doing this system of these overlapping grids forming with your pineal gland and then your eyes, these 3D prisms that keep going over and over again within the circular grids. Get it? That's always behind it, right? You have the prism, the circular grids, etc. Okay. Sorry, let me do that. Oops. There we go. That's probably better, huh? Sorry, I didn't mean to do like a too small of a thing on that. But so what you have here is this is one vesica Pisces, two, three, and then between them is your 3D perception of reality. It is the plasma field. Okay. So when I talk about this third order plasma field, like that is your body, you have your skeleton, right? And then obviously you got your face, your skin. Okay, that's number two. And then everything that flows out from it though is your aura field, right? Then you got your aura. And so all I'm telling you guys is that this aura field really is bringing everything into physical reality. This aura, it's the belief. When your aura merges with another person's aura, what you're really doing is taking your circular grids. Your circular grids are binding together. Your 3D prisms that you're forming together are merging together One bridges into the other, bridges into the other, bridges into the other, bridges into the other. Then when you get into a collective group of people, whether it's Christianity or anything else like that, you begin to form the structure and a value and a belief system. Sorry that these don't look much like circles, but that's what they are, guys. I know they're a little bit crooked there. Let me do this a little bit better. Like the Olympic symbols. That's what this is supposed to be like. And then all you have to do is remember that, just like this thing up here, this is all the same thing. This equals this, right? So the same way that you got like, the eyes down here. And you keep doing that over and over again, just like this, okay? Then you get into larger circular grids. And then we're getting into, let me get that chart up here. So do you see how one kind of equates to the other here a little bit? These two concepts are related. You're always forming these vesica Pisces, as you see here, right? These are just more precise drawings than the one that I'm doing. And then all I'm telling you is, and you got to add each time you're adding in between the eye sockets and then the third eye, which is in the pineal gland. It's a little bit like the concept of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. You're doing the same thing within your human mind. You're forming the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit within human energy. And it's how we're bringing all reality into manifestation, because the more we add to it, again, you start with Adam's rib. Adam and Eve begat, they begat, they begat, they begat. This is the flower of life. They're telling you these are how we formed our, what we currently exist in came into manifestation through all of the different people that came together. They created more and more circular grids, which were people, and those were beliefs. They were rooted all in beliefs in one another, the belief in the idea of a family, the belief in forming a community once you had a group of families living together. And then once it's all structured, it just forms into one mass that is nearly indistinguishable from one solid piece of matter. Do you understand that? This, though it looks simply like a sphere, is actually really, when you think about this whole cycle and how it all goes in repetition, is the culmination of a series of these other cycles that have all gone into repetition over and over again until they formed a new one of what it actually began as a singular. Then the whole mass becomes one large block like that over and over again. And that's the plasma field. That's the universal plasma field. That's everything that we exist in. All right. Hope I got that right. All right. Let me get some of my slides back here. Yeah. So away I get. So away, everybody. Um, I guess you could say this is like my own private enunciation. The best way I can describe it. I've been trying to do this for like especially the last year, over and over again. Try to form like a better description of the way I understand the way we exist in reality better. The way it's been sort of, I guess you could say, trained to me over time through this kind of esoteric means of sort of like DNA activations, very strange experiences that I've had. going back, I'd say several years now. I just started having these sort of downloads, um, where they would go on for about 2 or 3 weeks. I would just get a lot of information that I just didn't understand in any linear sense. It would just be symbols, an understanding of like what the Ankh is, for example. You might have seen that left over from my notes, another presentation, like suddenly being given like some large lesson out of nowhere that I just sort of understand at an intuitive level about what an Ankh is, or what the process of that is, and like what the true meaning is, and like being given alternative um, definitions of things that were typically explained in other ways that like as I found them on the internet, or like something that they said could never be explained, or was never, there was no reason for, or whatever. I was simply provided like a very simple reason why it was the way it was that made complete sense to me. And again, without even really looking for the information, or going out of my way to find it, it was really strange the way that it was all just flowing in, and I was writing down and taking notes of it. Um, I wound up calling the core documents behind this. I call it the Ka Codex, and it was just a series of journals that I took down. They would be pretty random and bizarre, I think, to the average person to try to interpret them. But to me, they had all these different things, like lessons on how energy flow works and everything, and nothing that I was ever exposed to in my education. Nothing anybody had ever taught me to where I could have some explanation for why I suddenly understood it and could draw it down on a piece of paper out of nowhere. That's what was very, very strange about the whole experience, and made me wonder what was going on. Like, did somebody do some voodoo on me or something like that? I was kind of like, it didn't feel menacing. It actually felt quite miraculous and beautiful at the time. But I always wondered what it was leading to. And on some level, I really feel like it's things like this is what it's leading to. It's like that a person like me, I don't know. I feel like maybe what I'm here to do is a little bit is to sort of like soften some people to who are a little bit, to make us all sort of understand how much we really are alike, if you get what I'm saying. That even if you have a conflicting value system or belief system, or you perceive religion or our reality differently than somebody else, that perhaps that you'll understand why some people would gravitate more to a Christian theology or belief system, whether they believed in it or not. To me, it seems quite, it makes sense to me, I guess you could say, why somebody would want to have the belief system in their life. They would want to have the foundation of it, or they would want to have their families at least have a clear understanding of it at a basic level, or to have their children raised under a Christian value system at a basic level, with the hope that they would just have a stronger moral foundation, if that's what it provides them, hopefully, and that it would give them a framework through which to, I guess you could say, just establish a common set of morals and ethos. But that's to begin with when you're younger and you're just trying to find your footing in life, and you just need something maybe to make you understand that it's bigger than you. The world operates on more than just your desires and needs, and you can't just go stomping around or whatever, right? You have to be courteous, you have to be polite, you have to be a member of a community. And I think that that's a big part of what the beauty that's being taught within the Bible relative to human energy is kind of on the cusp of helping us understand at a broader scale, even if it's not something that you believe in as a historical document. If you understand what I'm telling you, you'll understand that there really isn't any history, not in any true sense. That all history's been a manifestation of a universal plasma field that's constantly bending, and that time is really only a perception, which is why this story repeats. You see, if you think it didn't happen, you're right. It didn't happen, but it did. And it's happening now, and it's happening again in different pockets of the world. Yet it's really not. I know, try to wrap your head around it, but that's the whole concept. I think that's one of the reasons why I was watching this movie again not that long ago called Heaven Help Us, that's about Catholic school. Um, it was made in the 80s. It's really, it's a, if you're, I've recommended it to people before and everything like that. I mean, it's definitely an adult themed movie. So, and you would have to have you know, it's just about like more like the brutal forms of it. I guess you could say, like growing up in like a rigid Catholic school, but it's told more as a comedy. But there's a scene where one of the guys that's kind of a bully in this school and doesn't do his homework and everything like that. he's asked by the brother to explain the Holy Trinity. He's like, going, Mr. Dunn, you were asked on your homework to explain the Holy Trinity. I would just like you to maybe stand up right now and share your learnings with the class. And he goes like, well, brother, the Holy Trinity is something that has not, never could be, and never will be understood, and therefore, no, it never has been understood. Therefore, the Holy Trinity isn't, has not, and never will be understood. Something to that effect, right? Like, it's designed to be a total mystery. Therefore, it is never going to be understood. I think it is designed to be a total mystery only in the sense that even once you have the answer, you're still left with the miracle. You're still left with something that tells you that it's not going to end. It's okay. That there's a reason to have faith in this system. There's a reason to have belief in this system of energy, the cycles of energy. And that when every time somebody tries to make you believe that there's going to be some sort of doomsday scenario, you can just stop it right there and say like, no, it's not going to happen. It's really, we manifest everything, and you would have to have a collective belief in that outcome to make it manifest. Kind of strange how that's kind of what the Cold War was about. It was a collective belief system to manifest an outcome of a very tragic way, getting everybody to be afraid of this potential of, this global nuclear disaster, of everybody getting wiped out simultaneously. And that fear is powerful. I mean, we're experiencing it right now with some of the things that are going on, guys, relative to, the COVID things and whatnot. Fear is a very powerful mechanism to move populations in negative ways. So once you understand that, the people that maybe, well, let's be real here, guys. What is the devil's game? It's the devil's game is to get you to lose your ability and changing this exact plasma field in a way that works for you and your community, and forcing you or getting you to opt into systems that are destructive to you personally, or destructive, or the devil's bargain, getting you to say like, well, if you give up this, then you're going to get all this in return. We know that that's against what you believe in as a human, but if you keep giving up things, the devil's going to give it. No, the devil's never going to do that for you. That's not what the devil does. The devil is there to stab you in the back. The devil is always the one that it's the long con. And honestly, the devil isn't even the long con. The devil tells you straight up to your face. You just don't understand it right off the bat because it always looks good on the surface. So, folks, like with this whole thing, even within manifesting a belief in an illness, you guys understand that right now we're experiencing a global pandemic that is effectively, the reason why it's so powerful is because of belief. And that's why I personally understand. Like, I think you can have a balance here, guys, of these things. Those of you who are at home with your relatives right now, please, I make this appeal to you. You know, People that understand reality the way that I do, it's not crazy. It's very science based. And if I seem reluctant to give a lot of energy to a pandemic, if I seem reluctant to feed a lot of energy to it, it's because I understand that we bring everything into manifestation through belief. So I choose not to believe in things. And guess what? I've been a very healthy person the last year. I have not had any illnesses. I have not landed in the hospital. I have not had really any bouts of sniffles or flus or anything else like that. When nearly everybody gets the flu at least a little bit once a year, or has some degree of whatever. No, during this alleged pandemic, especially since I've understood beliefs and the power of belief and how you do vibrate things into frequency, including illnesses, that I don't get sick. And I say it over and over again. I say it out loud like, I'm not getting sick. I don't get sick. I'm not going to be sick. Nothing's going to make me ill. I don't believe in that. That's not happening to me. Again, guys, there's always something that's going to whoop somebody's ass at some point in time that's going to say, like, okay, I believe in that. I get it. But no, when it comes to like things that are flus and colds and things like that, just never forget the placebo effect, even if you think it's simply placebo. Well, what do you think a pandemic is but a collective hive mind placebo effect? It's a belief in a sugar pill. The belief in the sugar pill in this case was that a whole group of people that had something to hide said, boo, disease. Now you got to stay locked up. Believe, 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 fear, fear, believe. And guess what? The devil took away our freedom. but it's only because they got it to bind here. They made us believe it. They got us all to give everything up for the last year or two, did we not? How much freedom did everyone give up? All through these dark workers who I promise you do understand the bending of a universal plasma field. If we are to survive what is going on right now as a collective population, we must understand our ability through manifestation, through the power of belief, what we can do with our combined plasma fields, especially together, especially people that have very, very strong psychoenergetic signatures, which is to say those of you who can bend plasma in ways that are exponentially stronger than others, and you do exist. I know some of them join the chat. It's just a fact, guys. Some people can really move plasma around exponentially stronger than other people. It is a skill and a talent they have. Many are completely unaware, mostly because there's been specific people that have made them unaware because they knew what the person could do, but they did not want them to know. That's the game everywhere. This is all a spiritual battle, folks. So please recognize what you have inside you, whatever your belief system is, whatever you choose to whatever. I mean, it really is important. Okay. We are always manifesting everything day to day through a shared plasma field. We are, in fact, doing this constantly. Okay. So let me get this other slide up really quick here. Sorry, I got a little, hang on really quick. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into the talking about the Ankh thing here quite yet. I was thinking about doing that, guys, relative to this discussion, but I'm not sure I want to do that. All right. So yeah, yeah, hang on really quick. Now I know. All right. So within this thing, within all right, all right. So we're talking about how we form thoughts and beliefs and everything else like that when it comes to what needs to be done as a collective consciousness, like why this has to be something that we're like a little bit more aware of right now, especially more than ever. Like, why is it? Why would you need to be a little bit more conscientious about how this all operates if you care about our future as a society? And what we choose to believe in is extremely powerful in how we can affect the future outcome of everything, especially when it comes to believing in one another, especially when it comes to believing in what we are existing in here and everything that is around us. If the thing I've observed the last year, and this is what I want to kind of like end on, okay? There's just been enormous attempts to make it's been a very spiritually damaging um form that is translated into physical harm to our country. What do I mean by that? It starts with beliefs. It starts with a rigid attempt to manipulate or aggravate the belief systems in our population. Along with the COVID things that have been going on, we've had a lot of race related division, things involving gender issues, involving LGBT issues. A lot of these things have been going on pretty aggressively in America the last couple of years, and the signatures of it, the all of the signs of how it's operating really do hint towards greater psychoenergy manipulation, that there is a concerted effort to destabilize our country by some parties, internal and external both. And it's not here to basically do anything but hand us over to another nation, I think, as far as our governance goes. without us really knowing it. It's kind of designed to be transparent and invisible, destabilize our society right in front of us. And so I'm not saying this to be a downer right now, guys. I'm saying this to say that, especially on Christmas, especially when you think about the concept of the Christ symbol of the cross, the Christian cross, and what it really amounts to. What is the energy concept that is contained within that? What does it say about human DNA? What is Adam's rib teaching us about our partners and our mates, and what we're structuring together into forming physical reality through a belief system? You don't even make another, you don't even bring another person into fruition without belief. It comes through attraction. it's this is like the whole story of Adam's rib, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Welcome, Anastasia, appreciate you joining. Thank you. Merry Christmas. um I think that this last couple years has been such a reminder to me about how we can both build and deconstruct things through belief. And like, yeah, I think it's a lot it's been easy for me to explain the concept. I think of, like, do you guys understand that, like, if, like, just creating a blueprint, and then a whole bunch of people meeting about the blueprint and architecture plans of a building is literally an idea manifesting through plasma bending. You and your unique bioelectrical signature bend this plasma field around you. It merges with the plasma fields of others. They all say, "Wow, that sounds like a great building. We want to build that too." I know it's more complicated than that. But then all the people that believe in building the building, before it's ever brought into physical reality, they had to believe in it. They had to be able to visualize it and see it. And so deconstructing society works the same way. You have to constantly tell a population in a society, like, your society's rotten, you're corrupt, you have no worth. You've always been like this. Your whole society has all these issues, and can you ever be good? And this has been our problem in America. They keep saying this to us, like, Bob, and all I would say to you guys is like, you have to think of America bioenergetically, and America needs to think of the rest of the world similarly, as like, we're all linked. Bioenergetically, we're linked. And whenever we do something like this, there's a karma cycle, there's a destructuring of our society that has a cascading effect that spreads around the world. If you get America to fear something, and to be, and it's effective. If you can make America effectively afraid of something, that fear will propagate worldwide and globally. Our influence is that strong. And there's other countries outside of their military might that have the exact same, quote, influence. And bioenergetic influence is everything, because those guns wouldn't even be bought without a belief that there's a strength in the country and there's a reason for us all to have money when we're really surrounded with debt. Do you understand that America couldn't even exist right now unless there was a strong belief in it? How could you be trillions in debt and still function unless somebody believed that we're something and are going somewhere? That's just reality, is it not? All right. So what's been going on the last couple years has been a strong attempt to chip away at the beliefs of America in America. They want Americans to not believe in America. And so, what I'm pleading with you today, folks, is to recognize that that's something that's occurring, and that it is a weapon. It's a weapon that's designed to destabilize society in a far more sophisticated way than you've ever been used to. And these are modern weapons that actually operate on human energy principles. They actually require somebody put them into action. They operate on the human consciousness, and they do make a person question everything around them aggressively, all of us as a collective hive mind. And so, yeah, it's being done on some level artificially. Both internal and external factors are trying to make this a reality. This is where you have to understand that everything they learned about how to make that work operates on the principles of the human brain. They replicate it and aggressively try to overpower it. And the one thing that I've learned is that you can defeat these mechanisms through belief, because these plasma fields bind together. plasma field to plasma field, 3D prism to 3D prism. And as we can envision something, and especially when we're effective at communicating something visually, which is what I've been trying to do here with the whiteboards, the more of us that can envision and visualize what we truly exist in, how we are bending this plasma field together. And once we get this concept, we'll understand the power of communicating our ideas this way and merging our ideas in such a way, in a beneficial way, where we won't just want to like powwow for the sake of going, this all sucks. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes everything around us kind of like gets to the point where you want to just say, like, yeah, this really sucks. I wish this wasn't this way. But you understand that's the spiritual component of everything, is to always chip away at our belief in everything so that we build nothing. They want us to be eternal pessimists because the pessimists can create nothing. The pessimists won't take care of a thing because they say, well, it's just going to fall apart anyways. They're chipping away at our optimism for this reason. So what I'm telling you today, guys, it's a pep talk for, again, especially now. Recognize the power of your belief and your faith. Recognize that what it can do within your groups together when you meet together during this unique time, like, not unique time, but during this special time when you have your family together. This is the time where I would say that if we all understood this, that bioenergy structures plasma into physical reality better, I think that we would have far fewer arguments with our relatives over political issues. I think we would have far few people disagreeing on who should be in charge or who should be the president. We'd have far few people arguing over COVID issues, arguing over all these other things like that. All these things that are causing strife or making people maybe at each other's throats or whatever during the holidays. I think they would nearly all dissipate, like, just like that. And I think that it's possible for us to change physical reality exponentially right now. And so what I hope that we'll take this, that those of you who are nice enough to join on this Christmas, and thank you so much. I hope that you'll um learn that, like, within this Bible, within this human trinity, within your faith, there's powerful lessons in how energy moves, how your beliefs are actually forming what we exist in every day. Your belief, especially in one another. I'm saying this as a pep talk to myself. I used to say this before even, and it's so bizarre how much I can forget this. That believing in one another, it doesn't really, like, whatever you choose to like want to have as far as cynicism goes. Like, what does that really matter? What is your cynicism? What is my cynicism to anything that's trying to get me from point A to point B? What does it do for me really in the end? What does my pessimism do for me in the end? It hasn't really advanced me forward. I guess it's caused me from making some mistakes at sometimes, but it's also caused me from creating things that are brilliant. It's also prevented me from making mistakes that I should have made in order to make progress that I should have made simultaneously. Yeah. Guys, this is where I think what we need to do is recognize in America right now, especially, there's such an effort to chip away at our belief in one another, and our and that the sophisticated mechanisms that are causing the destabilization. Like, what gets a whole bunch of people, aside from, yeah, you have people that are just like, quote, professional, what do you call them, agitators and disruptors. Like, they know what they're doing, they're going out of their way and they're breaking things and they're trying to get other people to do it. But the psychoenergetic aspect of those types of activities begin with a belief. They begin with getting a person that's otherwise not criminal to start to lose faith and belief in something in an aggressive way, to where they're willing to cross that additional line and make the whole situation even worse. And then the rug is swept from underneath themselves and everyone around them, and the destabilization cycle just continues to perpetuate if we let that happen in this country. So please don't. Please, please, please recognize right now the power of faith and belief. I'm trying to do it myself, and I want to be reminded that I need to be better at it. I don't really care. what do they say, like the past is prologue or something like that? I don't know. I don't really care. I'm about like what are we able to structure now? What can we form into physical reality today? What can we do together now? Something meaningful as a collective consciousness to change physical reality the way that we would like to see it. Understanding this material, I promise you, is a key aspect of it. It makes it all happen. It makes it all work. And it's the hiding it from Western culture specifically that's made this difficult, I think. And that's given an edge to belief systems that are in other nations and other parts of the world. And that's okay. Maybe they needed to have a little bit of an edge for a while. Maybe we were too effective at being dominant as a culture, and there needed to be more of a mix of our beliefs relative to others. But right now, if you don't understand bioenergetics, if you don't understand your plasma field, if you roll your eyes at everything that I've discussed tonight, I would say you're doing your country, you're doing yourself, you're doing your community, even, yes, even your families a disservice. Don't go there. Be better than that. I need to be better than that. It's kind of a beautiful thing if you think about it, but it's also why I think it's one of the reasons why God warned, about the tree of knowledge. It's not bad to know these things. It's bad to get into knowing them and not having a deep understanding of what you're doing with them, I think. When you actually take the bite, if you don't just understand what it is, understanding what it is one thing. When you bite into it and you don't really know what you're doing, I guess that's the whole thing. Strange that it all revolves around an Apple. There's the whole logo on the iPhones and all the other things that are going on, and very, very strange. But um, I was trying to think here, guys. I had one more thing that I wanted to get into. Oh man, what was that? No, I think that might be it, guys. I don't know. I think I would probably be just trying to extend this thing unnecessarily at this point, unless you guys have some additional questions. I don't want to just like make it drag on at this point, guys, because I kind of know that I've covered most of the material I intended to already. So if you have any questions, or there's something you'd like to ask, or if there's something you want me to expand on over the next few minutes, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that and stay on. Otherwise, I'll probably be ending this pretty soon here and everything like that. I know it's Christmas. I think anybody who started and is finishing with me, hey, thank you. That was really awesome of you to show up. And I do appreciate that, especially on Christmas. Um, Me personally, I've had some significant blessings over the last year. And Yeah, I'm very grateful right now. You know, I really feel like we are on the cusp of changing things exponentially, people. I really do. And I think that this awareness and this understanding, I think, is a critical part of making that a reality. So I don't want to keep anybody on here unnecessarily or whatever. I think I'll probably just start to wrap it up here. So thank you very much for joining, everybody. If you would like to contribute to the work, that'd be great. I know it's Christmas time though, so don't feel like whatever. But if you'd like to, that's awesome. And yeah, you can find all my details down here below in the description section. And I'll have another presentation soon. And thank you very much for joining. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Really enjoy the time with your loved ones, and all the best to you. Thank you.